and the Belize Bank, our country, your bank.
Good morning.
And welcome to Open Your Eyes.
Start your morning right.
I have Isana Cayetano.
And I'm Paul Lopez.
Good morning.
Shaking off that weekend vibes, whatever that was like for you, Isani. But it's Monday morning. It's a wet Monday morning
Yes,
in the
indeed
city.
it is.
In fact, the rains are pouring down, and I know it's a difficult morning for a lot of people to get out of their beds and to start the week. But we want to thank you all for tuning in to Open Your Eyes, your morning show of choice, whether or not you're feeling gloomy, whether or not you're excited. We are here to bring energy to you as well as bring good information on what has been happening over the weekend, and then, of course, what we can expect throughout the course of the week. Isani, how are you doing this morning? Let me start by asking that.
I'm good.
Yeah.
I had an eventful weekend. I was at the game on Friday night.
Oh, yeah.
I missed it yesterday.
You missed the best game of the weekend, man.
So Friday, the Hurricanes defeated the Defenders, and I heard that yesterday the Defenders edged them out by 1.
By 1 point.
Real nail biter, right?
Yeah, these are conversations that makes me want to get up out of my seat and actually talk while standing because of how exciting this series is going. I mean, this is one of the series, the matchups that people were looking forward to and saying, if we want anybody in the finals for this season, it's the Defenders and it's the Hurricanes. And it's one of those things, buzzing, that you can't just gloss over, especially even if it's a Monday morning, because the Defenders really are the underdogs in this series, or at least they're considered the underdogs in this series. And to see them defeat the Hurricanes by 1 point, and it took a lot of effort and it took a lot of energy on their part.
The good part about it is that it ties the series at 1 apiece. Now we're looking forward to the next 3 games, right?
Yes.
Which will be the decisive.
Well, it's 2 more games theoretically if somebody goes and win two in a row.
Yeah.
But I see this going to a game 5. And last week, Friday, actually Thursday, you guys, our faithful viewers, remember Terry Gordon was on set, and I said, Terry, this isn't going to be a sweep because no team in this finals will go down easily. And so said, so done. This seems as if this is going to be a 5-game series.
Nice. But yeah, so I did that on Friday, and then over the weekend I just kind of relaxed and chilled. You know, came out a bit yesterday. But, you know, I can't complain. I know that you were away on Friday and Saturday, right? You were on an assignment with the BTB and you were enjoying yourself while we were working here in the newsroom. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, so as you said, you guys were over here toiling, holding down the fort, and I was on a bit of a vacation. It's not necessarily a vacation because when you have to work, then it's not vacation. But we were out in San Pedro on Friday and Cocos on Saturday. The Belize Tourism Board, they organized basically a media trip. Usually we cover Lobster Fest while the event is happening. Well, the BTB thought of a good idea. They said, hey, how about we organize a trip with the media to promote and get a deeper look into Lobster Fest before it actually happens. Look at the build-up, look at the anticipation, why this Lobster Fest is so huge to the economy of these destinations, San Pedro, Cocos, and
even Placencia coming up.
Even Placencia. We were doing the Placencia trip on Thursday, and I would have gotten to that. I will get to that. But so we got on the ground, and of course, these shots are from last year because the lobster season officially opens at the end of June. The first day in July, actually. So by midnight, people are already out getting their traps hauled in, etc., etc. But so what we got was insight into something we don't ordinarily do, which is getting it beforehand. In San Pedro, we spoke to the organizer. we spoke to several business owners, we spoke to fisher folks, and we did the same in Cocos, the organizer, several business owners as well, and we're talking about restaurateurs here, as well as fisher folks. And so those were the three main elements, or the three main sectors or stakeholders that we spoke to over the weekend from in terms of the Lobster Fest. And one of the things I gathered is the fact that Lobster Fest is different in both destinations. So when we hear Lobster Fest, we think, oh, I will decide between Placencia, between Cocos, and between San Pedro. Well, that decision is a weighted decision because that will determine what your experience will be like for Lobster Fest. Well, it's completely different across the board.
I'll declare my biases if that were the case.
Tell me, and then I'll tell you based on some facts.
I'm more a Cocos and Placencia guy than I am a San Pedro guy, right? And so when it comes to Lobster Fest, if I'm to make a decision, it would be between either of those two destinations. I wouldn't even give San Pedro much thought. Well, that's my bias. I'm putting that out there.
Well, I'll tell you, it's a solid decision-making process because, as we found out, Cocos has the longest-standing Lobster Fest. So they have basically nailed down all the kinks and basically refined it towards a product that tourists and locals really enjoy. San Pedro is more of a newcomer. They've been there. They've been doing their Lobster Fest for 13 years. Okay. While Cocos has been doing Lobster Fest for as old as I am. So a bit over 3 decades. Cocos has been in the Lobster Fest, and Placencia has been right behind. Cocos is the oldest, longest-running Lobster Fest in the country. But the good thing about San Pedro's Lobster Fest is that they go for 13 days. Yeah, so the celebration lasts for 13 days. Meanwhile, Placencia and Cocos, they have like 3 days of celebration, which is really on a weekend, right? Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But I'll tell you something, man. People on these destinations, they are 100% excited for the economic boost that Lobster Fest brings in. When you speak to the hoteliers, you can't get no hotel rooms at this point in time. Hotels are completely booked out. Restaurateurs, we spoke to one restaurateur that she has to increase her staff in her restaurant by almost 300% because of the demands. Lines are long.
I think the beauty of it is essentially getting out what you've put in. So it's an investment on all fronts, right? And so when the hotel owners or the other businesses that are invested in it, ensure that they go all out, they also make sure that they see a return on their investment. Right. And that is done by way of the Belizeans and, of course, the visitors who come from abroad to participate in Lobster Fest. And it's also a time of year for me, actually, the few times that I actually do go out and enjoy, a weekend in Cocos or Placencia for Lobster Fest. Seeing that many people, and I think you have more people enjoying themselves in other activities than you find them actually consuming lobster, right? But that's another conversation.
Yeah, no, it's a conversation that was had as well, and this trip was also really to change the perspective of Lobster Fest from just being a party to really understanding what you're engaging in or what you're contributing to. It's not just buying the beers and drinking the rum and having a good time, but you're actually contributing to one of the economic boosters that these residents look forward to on an annual basis. And I think that's a good thing. Now, a lot of people go to Lobster Fest and perhaps choose cheaper alternatives to lobster because one of the first things you hear when you reach Lobster Fest, Matters by this thing really to touch my pocket. You're talking $60, $65 for a lobster tail. But when you consider the work that goes into it, for example, a lobster tail freshly caught would cost the restaurateur some $25 to $30 per tail. Yeah. And then when you consider all that they have to put in to get that product finished, then that's plus why the price,
plus a small profit
the price goes up to $60, $65 dollars. Now, what a lot of these restaurateurs do, or these chefs, they basically make cheaper alternatives. So if you find a lobster kebab, for example, or if you find a lobster hot dog, for example, or some of them do a lobster stew, that doesn't necessarily, you don't necessarily need the tail. That's when you could get like a $35, $40 dish. And so you really have to go out there and look for what you want and see what fits into your budget. And so great event all in all, and tonight we'll be putting together a story looking at Cocos and San Pedro Lobster Fest, and then as you indicated earlier, on Thursday we head out to Placencia for another long day to really get a sense of what Lobster Fest is like behind the scenes ahead of the event, which in, you think about the dates we are at today, the lobster season begins next week.
Yes, on the 1st of July.
On the 1st of July, and so we're right here, we're right there with that.
Nice.
Yeah.
So that's what's buzzing.
That's definitely what's buzzing this morning. Lobster Fest is coming up. The rains, these are good rains for lobsters. And so, yeah, that's really what's buzzing this morning. Do we have any what's buzzing topic on hand? I know there's a lot of things happening.
Well, I think one of the interesting conversations, and I know that it was initially carried elsewhere in the media, is the fact that Philip Willoughby recently got married. Now, in the ordinary scheme of things, we wouldn't really be talking about that, right?
It's a wedding.
Congratulations, and I hope they, last. But the reason why it's a trending topic is because, one, he married his political opponent's daughter. And the UDP has now sort of been divided on an issue surrounding Philip Willoughby's candidacy in Port Loyola, right? And so I was talking to a couple of people over the weekend, and they were saying, well, it's how do you disqualify a candidate simply because he chose to marry, for all intents and purpose, someone who he's in love with, but it just so happens to be his political opponent's daughter. How do you launch that campaign to say, well, okay, you know what? I, Philip Willoughby, will now go head on against Mr. Usher, but hold on, I'm married to his daughter. And you know how campaigns can get very nasty at times as well, too, right? But yeah, I mean, that was one of the trending topics that people were talking about this weekend. A couple of people that I interacted with. It's an interesting state of affairs, to say the least.
This is very characteristic of some of the power decisions I have seen the United Democratic Party has made over the last few years, well before the general elections, whereby, and I know there are party mechanisms in place for certain decisions, but whereby the executive can deliberate such a matter and make such a decision to remove an individual like that. I know there'll be both sides, both thinking, so the coin, people thinking, well, should he have been voted, should the vote have been for him to be removed? Should there have even been a vote taken, considering the fact that this is a personal matter and perhaps a personal decision? In any event, you hear people saying that if he was to contest the seat, if he would have lost, he would have still won, because he's now a part of the family. You have to give him that. But if he would have won, then perhaps his opponent would have still won, because he's still a part of the family. So that while it's taking the matter lightly to a sense, it also perhaps speaks to a conflict of interest.
Well, how would it be? Again, it's up for debate. I think that's what's interesting about the conversation, right? Because you can view it from different points of view or perspectives. But my thing is, it's not often that you find that you have two political candidates in a constituency, and then one marries the other's daughter. That's not something that happens, casually.
Unless perhaps it's in this, well, you won't oppose the person if you're in the same party, right? Because you have family members within a party that runs in different constituency. even in the same area, not the same area, but the same district, for example.
Yeah.
You have that, but that's not considered a conflict of interest because you're a part of the same party versus being in opposition. Now, I don't know necessarily what the Constitution says to this in terms of removing a standard bearer per that say, but again, you have party mechanisms, and I'm sure the leader of the opposition, when he calls his weekly press conference, this is one of those topics we'll be able to press him further on.
That will be high on the agenda, I'm pretty certain.
100%. But the news is out there, and it's been talked about, and it's being talked about as we speak this morning. But that does it for our What's Buzzing conversation this morning. And as we do every single Monday morning, we keep our eyes on the news, and so here's our segment, our Eye on the News segment this morning, or Monday morning.
So, I'm going to, in a sense, preempt the conversation that we'll have in our first segment. But before we reveal who we'll have as our guest this morning, I want to talk about what seems to be an uptick in crime and violence in Belize City. Now, as I have long held in this particular running segment, I don't really discuss crime and violence matters per se, but what I've found interesting over the past week or so are certain developments that, you know, to say the least, are concerning or curious. Yesterday, 2 young men were gunned down in Belize City. And the shooting incident left 1 individual dead and another fighting for his life at the KHMH. The incident happened literally 1 block away from the Mahogany Street precinct.
Yeah.
Right? And it begs the question of response. It begs the question of, from the shooter's perspective, the brazenness and the gall that they would perpetrate such a criminal act in plain view of the police station, right? And the fact that, you know, within the past 7 days or so, we've seen a homicide in Belize City. We've seen a vehicle get shot up. We've seen several individuals being arrested and charged for being members of a gang, and so on and so forth. And I'm saying this because it would seem that for a while things were on a lull where gang activity was concerned. But the past week have seen clearly what appears to be an increase in crime and violence related to gang activity. We also saw a 50-year-old get gunned down not far from the Majestic Alley area over the weekend as well. Mr. T got shot and killed, right? And so all of this because now we will have the Commissioner of Police joining us in our first segment, and clearly these are questions that we'll put to him to be able to get a handle on the situation. What's the department doing, right? It seems as though we're on the verge of what appears to be a flare-up of gang activity and crime and violence as it relates to that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's quite interesting, Isani. We've had, as you describe it, a lull in these flare-ups. And I live in Belize City, right? And I speak on these things with a sense of being like desensitized to it when I see this level of violence. But it's quite alarming, nonetheless, to think about that. And we saw, I believe it was early last week, if not last weekend, where an attempt was made on the life of Doris Grant and Mr. Underwood. For me, based on my perspective, from a reporter's standpoint, that seemed to have been the domino that is causing now what is a domino effect, because after that same week, we saw the death of a 20-year-old Fitzgibbon in the Martins area. And then after, on Friday, we saw a red vehicle shut up on Police Street, believed to be the ownership of a prominent alleged gang figure in that area. And then over the weekend, we saw 2 murders as well. Yeah. So I don't know if there's a connection per se, at least from
that would be for the
initiation. That's for the compul to say. But really what I'm doing here is outlining the spate of violence or gun violence that we've seen over the last week.
What is equally of interest is an incident that happened in Roaring Creek over the weekend too, where multiple shots were fired almost in front of the police station as well. You know, I think persons are operating wantonly when it comes to violent crimes and the commission of these crimes, right? Where they're not considering who is around, they're not considering where they are. They see their target and they just go gung-ho in terms of trying to get that individual or those individuals, right? And so like I mentioned, you know, we'll have the commissioner on set, we'll put these questions to him and try to get some answers. But I'll keep the Iron News short this morning. We have a lot to discuss in our show, and of course we have a lot that we'll bring you at 6 p.m. in our evening newscast. But that does it for the Iron News.
All right, Isani, thank you for your faithful contributions to our Monday morning Eye on the News as per usual. So what we're going to do right now, we're going to jump into our eye-opener for the morning. I'll take you towards some positivity for this Monday morning. And it's taken from dailyarm.com, and it goes like this. We cannot insist that someone else take responsibility for their actions. Only they can make that choice when they are ready. As we begin to truly understand that the world outside of us is a reflection of the world inside of us, we may feel confused about who is to blame for the problems in our lives. If we had a difficult childhood, we may wonder how we can take responsibility for that. And in our current relationships, the same questions arises. We all know that blaming others is the opposite of taking responsibility, but we may not understand how to take responsibility for things that we don't truly feel responsible for. We may blame our parents for our low self-esteem, and we may blame our current partner for exasperating it with their unconscious behavior. Objectively, this seems to make sense. After all, it is not our fault if our parents were irresponsible or unkind, and we are not able to blame, and we are not to blame for our partner's bad behavior. We do this by forgiving our parents, even if they have not asked for forgiveness, so that we can be free. We end the abusive relationship with our partner, who may never admit to any wrongdoing, because we are willing to take responsibility for how we are treated. In short, we love ourselves as we want to be loved and create the life we know we deserve. We leave the resolution of the wrongs committed against us in the hands of the universe, releasing ourselves to live a life free of blame. What a wonderful eye-opener this morning, Isan. It speaks about taking responsibility for your own life. As we said this morning, it's a wet Monday morning. It's raining outside. And we're going to get our weather update from the National Met Service this morning. Here's our weather update for you.
Good morning. Some showers and thunderstorms affected most areas last night, but especially central and southern coastal areas. Rainfall in that area totaled 2 to 5 inches. Relatively moist and unstable conditions will continue today and tonight. The 24-hour forecast is for sunny skies with cloudy spells today and cloudy skies at times tonight. A few showers and thunderstorms will affect mainly the coast this morning, inland and northern areas this afternoon, then mostly the south tonight. An excessive rainfall watch is in effect for central and southern coastal areas for this morning. Residents should monitor the situation and call the hydrology department at 822-0667 for information on flooding. Winds over the open sea will be from the east to southeast at 10 to 15 knots, and the seas will be choppy. Maximum temperatures today will be around 89 degrees Fahrenheit along the coast, 94 inland, but only 81 degrees up in the mountains. The outlook for Tuesday and Tuesday night is for partly cloudy skies with isolated showers or thunderstorms, except for a few more over the south Tuesday night. There is a high tide at 11:06 this morning, a low at 6:40 this evening, another high at 12:56 tonight, and another low at 5:44 tomorrow morning. The sun rose at 5:20 this morning and will set at 6:30 this evening. The moon goes down at 7:47 this morning and comes up again at 9:17 tonight. In the tropical weather outlook for the North Atlantic, the Caribbean Sea, and the Gulf of Mexico, tropical cyclone formation is not expected during the next 48 hours. With that, we end this report from the Belize Weather Bureau.
And that is our weather update for this Monday morning. As it appears, we're going to have some moments of wetness and then some dryness as well. So the sun is going to be out similarly to the rains falling. But we got to jump into our show for this morning. We have an interesting lineup, and we're going to begin things this morning, starting off the show with the Commissioner of Police, a discussion with the Commissioner of Police, Chester Williams, updating us on all that is happening crime and law enforcement wise.
Our second conversation is in part a running series that we've been doing with our Belizean Reel recently, where we're discussing caricatures and folklore. And so we will be joined by an educator and a writer to discuss Belizean folklores and, of course, characters.
And then our third conversation will be joined by the owner of Cocos Lagoon Farm, Elsie Wolf, who will be talking with us about her business. All right, so with that, what we're going to do is, Annie, before we jump into our first conversation with the Commissioner of Police, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. You don't want to miss this one. Stay tuned.
I'm David Humes. This is Vanessa Humes.
Benny's is kicking off Father's Day with popping deals for dad. In the month of June, visit a Benny's near you and get store-wide discounts on selected items such as Milwaukee and Axie power tools, Charbroil barbecue grills, car care products, Karcher pressure washers, and much, much more. Make dad happy with popping deals for dad in June, only at Benny's.
Benny's, Benny's, oh, Benny's, 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 Benny's. 2,251,000 slices of watermelon are eaten by tourists each year in Belize, benefiting local farmers and processors directly. Tourism means business.
Get ready for the most electrifying season yet. KTV The Remix Season 6 premieres on June 25th with the audition show. Who will walk away with bragging rights and the $10,000 grand prize? Tune in to find out. The excitement begins at 8 p.m. on Channel 5 and our streaming platforms. And it doesn't stop there. On July 2nd, the bliss comes alive once again with the live show starting at 8 p.m. KTV The Remix Season 6, where dreams become reality. Don't miss it, right here on Channel 5.
Do you know how to choose the best engine oil for your car? We believe the best engine oil should provide optimal performance and ultimate protection for longer. For Quartz engine oil, our engineers have formulated age resistance technology, also known as ART. It's a breakthrough innovation. The interaction between oil molecules is increased, creating a super resistant molecular structure. So whatever the conditions, it helps to prevent the lubricant protective film from breaking. Any engine is exposed to harsh conditions: extreme temperature and pressure, friction, sludge accumulation. The molecular structure of quartz with ART stays strong to perfectly lubricate and protect engine parts in all conditions. And the results are outstanding. Protection against sludge buildup improved by 18%. Protection against mechanical wear improved by 74%. Thanks to Quartz with ART, save on maintenance and preserve your engine's power. So next time you wonder which engine oil to use, choose performance and protection that lasts longer. Quartz with age resistance technology. Keep your engine younger for longer.
inspection first. Once the inspection passes, we'll do the connection for you.
Our teams at BEL continue to serve you.
And welcome back. For our first conversation this morning, we have been joined in studio by the Commissioner of Police, none other than Chester Williams. Good morning, Compol.
You don't start to fool this man in early. Good morning,
I'm
Paul.
looking forward to a spirited conversation with you, sir.
I hope it is going to be that. And good morning to your viewers and listeners across the country and those who may be streaming abroad. It's always a pleasure to be here, to be dialoguing with the Belizean people in terms of what is it that we're doing within the police department, as well as in the general public, to see how we can enhance citizen security.
Let's start with some positivity then, before we get into more serious matters. I found it interesting, I believe it was last week, where the Minister of Home Affairs was essentially giving land certificates to members of the Belize Police Department. And I think it's a great initiative because of the work that the police department does, and of course the commitment that officers have to their jobs. Let's talk about that.
Yes, I must say that the police department is very grateful for the good gesture coming from our minister as well as the Ministry of Natural Resources. I remembered when government changed in 2020, myself and Minister Musa discussed the issue of police land ownership, as there were a number of police officers who were clamoring for land, and in some cases they were saying that they had applied on numerous occasions and got no feedback. And we do believe that, yes, as police officers, you spend so many years serving this country in a way that many people would not want to. And so we thought it fit that it would be good for us to look at a land program. And so with that, we decided that we had to set a criteria, and the criteria was that those persons who would apply would have to have at least 5 years or more service in the department. So there was a minimum period that you would have had to be a police officer to be eligible. And in addition to that, we were looking for it to be a first-time land ownership. So if you have not been given a piece of land before by the state, then you would be eligible. So if you would have gotten one passed down to you from your parents, that would not have disqualified you. So with that, we went through the process, and Minister Musa followed through with Minister Hyde, and I also followed through with the CEO in the Ministry of Natural Resources. And the result is there, as you saw, where the minister was giving out those, I think it was approval to purchase those lands. There are still a number of applications in the pipeline, because we had, I think, over 600 applicants. I think so far over 200 officers have received their documentations, and we're still working on the others. So I'm very optimistic that very soon we'll be getting the others. I know the Ministry of Natural Resources have been extremely busy distributing lands, not just to police, but the wider public. And so our turn was there at the end, so we're extremely grateful for that.
Is this a one-off thing, or perhaps this initiative carries on going forward?
Well, like I said before, a number of officers have received theirs in the past, but it was in a small scale. The reason we went public with this one, it was because it was a huge scale. We had, I think, about 98 officers. So with that volume of people, we saw the need to have made it public, so that the Belizean people can see how much the minister and the government is trying to help police officers. So again, it's a very good thing for the police. They're extremely grateful. My advice to them is to make sure that they make good use of the land and don't go and sell it for nothing. Adapt Miami son,
Don't
right?
sell your
Don't sell the
land
land
for
for
nothing,
nothing, even if you're hungry and starving, right?
Yes, aye.
So we're hoping that they're going to make good use of the land.
Speak to, if you would, about this great level of collaboration that we're now seeing between ministry representatives and the police department. For example, we saw the NHI roll out for police officers. Now we're talking about land. It seems as if there is an intentional effort to really take care of the police department and its officers, unlike ever before.
One of our ministers' mantra is police welfare. He spoke about that a lot, and even when we would meet and discuss, one of the main things he would always talk about is to make sure that the police officers' welfare is taken care of. And so there's a lot that the police is doing through the ministry to enhance police welfare. I know that earlier in a discussion before the show began, my good friend Isani spewed some nonsense that there's hardly anything good happening in the police department, and I totally rebuke that statement of his, because the truth is, every day police officers are out there doing good things. Yes, many of the things that police officers does goes unnoticed. I don't know if you'd be able to calculate how many lives the police officers save daily just by being out there patrolling. So for you who have never experienced an hour or even a minute in a shoe of a policeman to say that, I find it very disrespectful, right? So don't you ever try that again, Isani.
I did not mean to
as
disrespect
police
you
officers,
in private, sir.
We do a lot to keep the people of this country and this country safe. And I think that to a great extent, we should all be grateful for the work of the police, because the truth is, as bad as you may think the police officers may be, if the police go on strike for 1 hour, you'll see the chaos in this country. So no matter what you may want to say, police officers are hardworking, committed and dedicated people. We're selfless. We don't focus on just ourselves, but rather to make sure that the public is safe. And I want to salute all policemen and women across this country for the good job that they have and continue to do in keeping our country and people safe.
Well said. Okay, and I fully agree with you. You're my good friend,
so.
and I'm on the same page with you where that is concerned. However, right, just to qualify the statement that I made prior to this segment, oftentimes the good suffer for the bad. You know how this thing works, right? Where you have good things that happen involving officers, but the few bad eggs and their activities or their misdeeds overshadows everything else. For instance, over the past 2 weeks, we've seen a matter on Friday. Let's start there. On Friday, we reported on a news item involving an officer who was accused of hitting someone who was in a holding cell over the head with a padlock, and the amount of bribery that's taking place in terms of trying to get that charge removed and trying to convince the victim not to pursue further legal action and what have you. That was Friday. A week or so before that, we were reporting on, excuse me, an officer allegedly raping a woman at the Queen Street precinct. So it's those acts that overshadow the good work that the police department does. And those are statements of facts, but we're not quarreling about that.
I'm not going to quarrel with you, but I will let you understand that. You spoke about the fact that we tend to allow the bad to overcome the good. That is because of the fact that we cultivated that society, right? Because at the end of the day, we must be able to separate apples from oranges. And as much as there are some police officers who would normally do bad, majority of our officers do well every day. If you look at the amount of police officers we have over 2,400 police officers. If for the week you have news item of one police officer behaving rogue, how can you say then that the actions of that one police officer overshadow the actions of the next 2,399? It is absurd. And we as a people need to learn to change the narrative. The truth is, as a media, you are more inclined to negativity as opposed to positivity. That needs to change, because again, People don't always want to hear negative things. People want to know what good is happening in the society. And the truth is, police officers are out there every day, even in the rain. Over the past few days, we have had a lot of rain. The police officers have stopped work. They're still patrolling the streets. They leave at home dry, get back home wet. They leave at home not knowing if they're going to return alive to their families. There's a lot police officers does every day. And we have to make sure that we give credit where credit is due.
Certainly.
We cannot just kill the entire department for the actions of one. I believe that the way we should look at things in terms of when police officers do nonsense, see how our response is to what the police officers would normally do. And I believe that as a commissioner and even our minister, we have had an extremely hard line in terms of making sure that police officers are held accountable when they do wrong. So we always make sure that we hold our own accountable. You can't tell me of an incident where police officers do things and nothing is done about it. Just the other day, I was discussing with Minister and I said, Minister, we need to look at another recruit squad. We said, well, we just had 200 and something pass out the other day. And I had to show the minister the stats. I tell her why we passed out 234. From that time when those went into training to now, we have lost over 160. So from that 234, we only have like 70. So because we have lost majority of a huge number to resignation, dismissal, retirement, people going off sick and dead. So in terms of attrition, we're losing. So again, we have to make sure that we do what we can to keep our police officers accountable when they do wrong, but at the same time, when they do right, we must also big them up. So, and I think there's where, as a society, we have been feeling.
So when it comes to the flare-up of crimes of recent, where does accountability lie? At whose feet? People are saying the Belize Police Department is not doing enough.
Mr. Lopez, I would ask you again to read your eye opener. Right? This is the thing, you know. You read a very beautiful eye opener this morning. I sat there and I listened to your eye opener.
You're inspired?
I said, I was so inspired by your eye opener. And now here you are now, minutes later, sitting next to me, asking me this question, who is to be held accountable? From your eye opener, who is to be held accountable? So applying the principle of your eye opener.
I'll ask you, I ask you the question.
No. This is a discussion, you know. This is not a show where I come here, you ask me question and answer. We're having a discussion. So
a very healthy one.
Exactly. So don't use an eye opener for convenience. You read an eye opener. I challenge you to apply your eye opener to your question.
Well,
you answer the question.
There's 3 points here. You have the public, you have those who are behind the flare-up, and then you have the police department. So
but from your eye opener, who is to be held accountable?
I cannot say.
You cannot say it.
Well, really, I'm not the one on the ground now.
Your eye opener said just a while ago that we must learn to take responsibilities for our actions.
So that's community. I'm a member of the community.
Good. So hold on now. Who are the ones doing the shooting? Is it the community? Is it the police? Is it you? That the criminals them. So the criminals are the ones who are to be held accountable for the actions. Yes, there are certain things that the police must do in making sure that when a crime is committed, the perpetrator is held to account. But again, the police ability to hold criminals accountable is fettered many a times by the inaction of persons in the public who may have seen what the criminal does and do not want to cooperate because they fear retribution. Again, you can't hold those people accountable for that. So even though you would say that as a society you have a responsibility, but if you have a responsibility to do something and you know that doing it is going to put your life at risk, then I don't think you should be held accountable for that. So at the end of the day, the persons who are to be held accountable for the shootings are the criminals. And this is why as a society we tend to get it wrong. Because we blame everybody else except the ones who are supposed to be blamed. People blame the police, they blame the minister, they blame the prime minister, they blame the public, they blame the media sometimes. But at the end of the day, if we begin to hold the criminals accountable for the actions, they're going to operate less. Because they're going to see that we are an intolerant society as to what they're doing. But when we tend to blame other people, we give them legitimacy. Because Why must I change my ways when I am doing the worst of things and I don't get blamed for it? I will continue to do what I'm doing. So that is where we are making mistakes in terms of holding people accountable. The police officers are out there every day. We don't have the luxury of having police officers at every street corner. In many of these cases, when we hear of these shootings, when we go and check our blog, you will see the police just passed here like 5 minutes ago. Police just searched this one about 2 minutes ago.
Crimes of opportunity.
Right, crimes of opportunity. And you all said that earlier in your opening. I heard my good friend Isani saying that, right? That the criminals tend to take advantage of opportunities presented to them. The police cannot stay in one area. So even though we have police officers patrolling the Martins area, as you would see them, Isani, they have to move around.
Let's get into some specifics, if you don't mind, Kompol. There was a daring attack on 2 young men in a vehicle yesterday afternoon in the Lake Independence area, a block or so away from the Mahogany Street Police Station. What do we know about that incident?
The 2 individuals were in the area yesterday in a vehicle, and while there, they came under fire from an individual. We already know who that person is, and we're looking for that individual. 1 person died as a result of that attack, and 1 is critically ill in the hospital. We're hoping and praying that the one who is in the hospital critically ill is going to pull through, and he'll be able to give us some more specifics in terms of that incident. But again, these are the things that we spoke about. The police officers are always in that area. And just before that crime took place yesterday, police had just passed there. But again, opportunity. Now we have a situation where some may say, but what were the 2 victims doing there? That is not their area. Yeah. But we cannot hold them accountable for that, because this is Belize. We're free to move around how we want. So you can't tell me I must confine myself to 1 square miles of this country. I should be able to move around. And that is one of the things we have to make sure we work on, and we are trying our best through the police department, through LIU, through Sports Council, every organization we can. And I can proudly say here that through the out-of-government approach that we have implemented, we're seeing a lot of changes. But while we're seeing changes in a few of these young men, we're still seeing some who are adamant about not wanting to change. And those are the people that we try to go after. But every time we go after them, there is not enough evidence to charge them, because people are not cooperating because they fear retributions from them. But are we supposed to just give up? I don't think so. We continue to look at the situation, and many of them have been charged under the gang law. In some cases, they go to court, they plead guilty, they're fined, not sent to prison. In some cases, they pled not guilty and they're granted bail, which again, they're entitled to by law. We just have to continue to work on it, and hopefully, we will be able to, at some point in time, put them away for an extended period of time, because that is what they want. Nobody cannot say in this country that the police is not trying, that our minister is not trying, that our government is not trying. One of the major complaints was that, oh, we lack employment. We need to have money to be able to feed our children, to feed our families. They created the LIU program. We give them employment in a respective area where they can make money. Weekly they get paid. But some of them still, despite having a job, despite being paid, they're still out there perpetrating criminal acts. So what is it that they want? To me, what they want is a lifetime in prison. And we have to find a way to make sure that that is done. Some of them need to get out of circulation for an extended period of time so that they get the sense.
Kompol, it would have seemed that for some time there was a lull in criminal activity where gangs are concerned. Maybe it wasn't making news as frequent, perhaps. I'm not quite certain. This country come to pandemic news. Stop it, Sani. But we're experiencing at this point what seems to be an uptick in gang-related crimes. If you look at the past 2 weeks, for instance, we've covered a number of stories where persons are either shot at, persons are killed, or persons are being arrested and charged for being members of a gang. Let's talk about that. From your position as a commissioner of police, where is this trend going, or what perhaps gave rise to what's taking place?
You see, Isani, we have this gang world issue. There are persons who are very thin-skinned, they're very insensitive, and it takes just a little to spark them. I have always said, we must do our work in such a way that we don't allow one idiot to go and do something stupid, and then that would normally create that chain of events. We saw where, again, as a society, we accept too much negativity. I don't know who inspired anybody to have brought Trinidad to Belize. That Trinidad can go play or can go DJ than many countries in the Caribbean. But we don't have a very vulnerable society where gangs are concerned. We will bring that kind of DJ to Belize. Right at Trinidad, everything started. You know?
Yep.
Right there, it started. And it spills over. Now, in terms of dealing with the whole issue, we tried our best to clip the root. But by that time, it don't spread already. So we saw where it went from Southside to Sopal Street to Bacala, to BLC, to PIV, and then now to Pongshell Bay. So it spreads. It just takes one spark and it spreads like a wildfire. During this process, the police have been extremely busy trying to see how we can stem it. But again, when we detain people, we can only detain them for 48 hours. So we detain the persons who we know are involved or whatever, but after 48 hours, you have to release them. And when they're released, they go right back on the streets and continue to do what they need to do. We try as best as we can at times to do more intense operations. But again, you would know that recently we had the flare-up in the west. And so with that, many of our officers that we normally use to come and do operations in the city when we have these type of flare-ups are engaged in the west in terms of making sure that we keep the west calm. And as you would see, it is working. Since we had that operational shift in the west, we have seen that crime had gone down. We don't want that to be temporary, we want that to be permanent. So what we're doing right now through the police and our ministry, and by extension the government, is to make sure that we can get a building rented in the Santa Elena area. We already identified one. The owner is renovating it at this time, and he has said to us it is going to be ready in a month's time. So once that building is ready, then I will have to be like Robin Hood, thief from Peter to give Paul, right? So I'll have to take 2 police officers from each formation across the country to send to Santa Elena. So again, we see where the deficiency, even though the other areas in the country might say, but Commissioner, we short. I understand we are short, but we have to get a station up and running in Santa Elena.
It's high time.
Yeah, and hopefully we get a recruit squad very soon, and once that is done, we'll be able to replace back those that we would have taken from across the country, as well as to see how we can up the numbers, which again, by that time, they pass out a good amount of don't go again. So the attrition is a problem.
Yeah. Right? Here's the thing, Compol. While I understand that you're focusing at this point in time on the San Ignacio, Santa Elena issue, Roaring Creek is right next door to Belmont Pond, and it seems as if though it's difficult for you guys to get a handle of what's taking place in Roaring Creek. Over the weekend here, there was another incident. What do we know about that?
Yes, the incident in Roaring Creek police station, from what I was meant to understand, is that a police officer was sitting outside the station in the compound, and he heard gunshots coming in his direction. He ran, he went into the station seek shelter, and the police station was shut up. Police recovered a number of expended shells from the scene, and 3 persons have been detained, but we don't have anything concrete on those 3 persons who are detained. We're still doing some interviews with the police officer in question, because we want to make sure that it is not something that is personal to him, because that is another possibility we're looking at. And then We're viewing surveillance footages in the area to see if anything would have been picked up by those cameras in the area. So there is a lot that we're doing in terms of investigation to try and get to the bottom of that, because the truth is
alarming or disturbing,
we have to
though?
find that person who did that.
It's rare that maybe Paul, I don't know. It's rare that I've ever heard of a police station coming under gunfire. Don't you find that disturbing at the very least?
It is extremely disturbing. How could I not? Police officers are out there working their butts off, and here comes what you may want to call the person, and shoot up at the police station. We must condemn it as a society in the strongest term. And as a police department, we will do what we can to find who is the person responsible, and he must be brought to justice. Plain and simple.
Yeah, I want to take a step back real quick to what's unfolding here in Belize City. And I have to commend the police department.
That's rare, boy.
I have rare moments, sir. But yeah, because usually when these flare-ups happen, the police department responds effectively, many times through an SOE, though these responses and the periods of lulls are temporary. What is being done this time around to kind of bring back a level of safety and citizens' security within the city?
All I will say to the Belizean people, and in particular the residents of Belize City, the police will do what is necessary to restore peace. And who wants to cry that my son innocent or my son this, they can lock themselves up in a room and cry. Wishing I know that you all will give them your time when that time comes. But we will do what is necessary. These persons perpetrating these criminal acts need to be held accountable, and we cannot and will not allow them to hold this city hostage. The police will do a lot through GI3. We continue to rely on GI3 in terms of bringing gang charges. We try as best as we can to rely on CIB in getting evidence to charge for crimes committed. And we continue to rely on our SPU and MIT, the operational arm of our department, to keep a pressure on those persons who are trying to hold us hostage. And I will end it at that.
How much of a proponent are you of this so-called Bokele approach that a lot of Belizeans seems to be advocating for? Every time there's a crime situation involving a gang member, an alleged gang member, you hear people talking, well, implement the Bokele approach.
I wish that we could. I am an advocate of human rights. But to me, human rights advocates have taken this human rights narrative too far, in the sense that you, the law-abiding citizen, not have no rights, or your rights are overshadowed or trampled upon by the rights of a criminal. So it pays more to be a criminal than to be a law-abiding people. That's how the human rights norm has gone. And I think that there need to be a balanced approach when you look at the whole issue of human rights. The public, the society, you law-abiding citizen, have a right to feel free, have a right to be protected. The criminal, on the other hand, or those who perpetrate criminal acts, do have a right to equality before the law. And equality before the law simply means that you cannot expect to be treated as equal as a law-abiding person. A law-abiding person will not be detained, will not be arrested, will not be charged. You as a alleged criminal, you will have to go through that process. So you cannot say no, oh, I am being treated unfairly while Mr. So-and-so is being treated this way. Many things we always hear is that, oh, the police, or they go out and leave black boy there. But at the end of the day, who they commit the shooting there? I can't go after a Spanish man when a black man in the shoot. I have to go after the black man there. So they can't expect to be treated as equal as the Spanish man or the Chinese man or the Hindu man when they are the ones who are doing the foolishness.
Yeah.
So making that balanced approach in terms of human rights norm is important. And what Bukele is doing, I agree with him. You have a set of people who hold a whole country hostage, do what they want, go to police station, kill police, assassinate people for too long. So at some point in time, you have to get enough. When you balance that now with the human rights issue, you can say now, while some might say that, oh, many of them who are there have not committed a crime or they're innocent. Not just because they're innocent, not just because they have not been convicted, means they're innocent. We know how our justice system works, not just in Belize, but across the world. Many times people commit crime, but they are not convicted due to lack of evidence. Right? One of the persons we're looking for right now, he has been accused of at least 12 murders.
Wow.
12. We just can't get the evidence for charge him, because every time he do it, nobody wants to give statement. No, he has been convicted for being a member of a gang when we charge him, but he was only fined. But other than that, he would walk around and say, I innocent. 12 different murders you have been accused of, and you could say maybe one a mistake, two a mistake, but 12? You
had a serial perpetrator.
Exactly. Right? So we have many of those in our society that we have to find some way to put them away. Because we can't put them away through the normal operation of the court system. So we have to find alternative means to put them away, and that's what Bukele does. He could not have sent these people to prison on a normal operation of the courts or the justice system. So he found a way to send them to prison. I support it.
I want us to end on a strong,
positive note?
Yes,
a
strong and positive note, right? You were recently out of the country. Talk to us about what you've been doing in terms of your position with the Caribbean Commissioners of Police.
Well, again, I was in the U.S. Virgin Islands attending the NASDA conference. Again, NASDA conference had a lot to do with looking at the drug trade, human trafficking, human smuggling, cybercrime, gang violence, among others. Basically, it deals more with transnational organized type of crimes. And so the conference for me was very good. It was an eye-opener in some respect, to the extent that I would say that when we look across the world and we would say that, oh, this is a country peaceful and this is a country peaceful, and when you go there, it's not as peaceful as you may think. It's just that the media in those places do not publicize the type of crime or the crimes being committed there as we would do in Belize. So when we discuss in our roundtable discussion what are some of the issues that plagues our society, we will see that even a small country like U.S. Virgin Islands, they have intense gang activity, robberies, murders. Our problems across the Caribbean region is the same. Gang violence, gun violence, drug trafficking, those are the things that permeates the Caribbean region, and not just the Caribbean region, but also Central America, South America, and to some extent even North America. So it's a worldwide thing that we're seeing in terms of the issue of youth violence. And something needs to be done in terms of making sure that we address this youth violence. And so those are things that we discussed at the conference in U.S. Virgin Islands last week.
Okay, wonderful. Paul, we want to thank you as usual for joining us on set. Always an insightful and somewhat entertaining conversation once you're on. So thank you so much for being on set with us.
I want to say thanks for the opportunity to be here. I know it is important for the Belizean people to know exactly what the police is doing or what the police are going to be doing to address the crime issue. And again, I want to assure the Belizean people, and particularly the residents of Belize City, that we will do our best to address the issue that is currently ongoing. To some extent, we need your support, and we ask that you support the police in whatever measures that are going to be taken to make sure we restore peace in Belize City.
All right, so with that, we're going to take another break, and when we come back, we're switching things over a bit to Belizean folklore. We have someone in with us to talk a bit about that. Before that, we're going to take a break. Stay tuned.
Technology is ubiquitous, and it's transforming how, when, and where we work. Fulltech Systems is placing award-winning devices in the hands of information workers, allowing them to work without compromise in a world without wires, to innovate, create, and to maximize productivity anytime, anywhere, satisfying the needs of the desk-centric remote and field worker and every other worker in between. We are providing the industry's best devices to businesses going through the process of digital transformation. Partner with us today to provide the solutions that will allow your employees to work effectively and efficiently to enhance your customers' experience. Fulltech Systems, your technology center, where you'll come for the price but stay for the service.
Unwrap the joy of crystal clear picture and sound from Iowa, the brand that offers you affordability and exceptional quality. Iowa has a wide range of exceptional products to choose from, such as TVs, speakers, headphones, home appliances, and much more at affordable prices that won't break the bank. Enhance your audio-visual entertainment experience with Iowa, and for your convenience, parts are readily available in country for hassle-free maintenance. You can find Iowa products at your local electronics store countrywide. Choose Iowa, the best in home entertainment and household appliances.
MacNav Visual Strategies, where creativity meets business. Step inside our world of innovative visual solutions. From captivating graphic design to expansive wide format productions, our services are tailored to bring your vision to life. Experience the impact of our high-quality signage and billboards, embroidery, promotional items, and professional paper printing, all designed to elevate your brand's presence. Every project reflects our commitment to creativity, quality, and client satisfaction. At MacNav Visual Strategies, we transform ideas into visual realities. Get in touch today.
Get ready for the most electrifying season yet. KTV The Remix Season 6 premieres on June 25th with the audition show. Who will walk away with bragging rights and the $10,000 grand prize? Tune in to find out. The excitement begins at 8 p.m. on Channel 5 and our streaming platforms. And it doesn't stop there. On July 2nd, the bliss comes alive once again with the live show starting at 8 p.m. KTV The Remix Season 6, where dreams become reality. Don't miss it, right here on Channel 5.
This plan, I can't leave this plan. Smart Belize!
Hey there, smart thinkers. We're turbocharging your mobile experience with Smart's powered up postpaid plans. Imagine a world where your data speeds flows faster than ever. Well, guess what? We've cranked up the dial and unleashed the postpaid power of Smart's lightning fast LTE data on all our postpaid plans. That's right, no speed bumps, more data. It's like having a limitless highway of data speed at your fingertips. Whether you're a lone ranger with an individual plan or a squad rolling with a group plan, everyone gets to surf, stream, and share at enhanced, full, high-quality speed. Switch to Smart's powered-up postpaid plans today and ride the wave of postpaid power. Visit any Smart showroom or smart-bz.com for details and make your mobile experience smarter and faster. Smart, bringing people together.
No, I can't let this plan. I can't let this plan.
Technology is ubiquitous, and it's transforming how, when, and where we work. Fulltech Systems is placing award-winning devices in the hands of information workers, allowing them to work without compromise in a world without wires, to innovate, create, and to maximize productivity anytime, anywhere, satisfying the needs of the desk-centric remote and field worker and every other worker in between. We are providing the industry's best devices to businesses going through the process of digital transformation. Partner with us today to provide the solutions that will allow your employees to work effectively and efficiently to enhance your customers' experience. Full-Tech Systems, your technology center, where you'll come for the price, but stay for the service.
Unwrap the joy of crystal clear picture and sound from Iowa, the brand that offers you affordability and exceptional quality. Iowa has a wide range of exceptional products to choose from, such as TVs, speakers, headphones, home appliances, and much more at affordable prices that won't break the bank. Enhance your audio-visual entertainment experience with Iowa, and for your convenience, parts are readily available in country for hassle-free maintenance. You can find Iowa products at your local electronics store countrywide. Choose Iowa, the best in home entertainment and household appliances.
MacNav Visual Strategies, where creativity meets business. Step inside our world of innovative visual solutions. From captivating graphic design to expansive wide format productions, our services are tailored to bring your vision to life. Experience the impact of our high-quality signage and billboards, embroidery, promotional items, and professional paper printing, all designed to elevate your brand's presence. Every project reflects our commitment to creativity, quality, and client satisfaction. At MacNav Visual Strategies, we transform ideas into visual realities. Get in touch today.
Get ready for the most electrifying season yet. KTV The Remix Season 6 premieres on June 25th with the audition show. Who will walk away with bragging rights and the $10,000 grand prize? Tune in to find out. The excitement begins at 8 p.m. on Channel 5 and our streaming platforms. And it doesn't stop there. On July 2nd, the bliss comes alive once again with the live show starting at 8 p.m. KTV The Remix Season 6, where dreams become reality. Don't miss it, right here on Channel 5.
Welcome back. This is our second conversation for this morning, and joining us via Zoom, we have Mr. David Ruiz, who's an educator and a writer, and he's in to speak with us briefly about Belizean folklore and his interest in this topic. So, Mr. Ruiz, good morning.
Good morning to all. It's a pleasure to be here.
I believe you're all the way in Benke, correct?
Right. I'm all the way down west.
West. Benke is the heart of some of our very interesting folklore stories.
Right. I mean, despite the times and all the advancements that we've experienced down west, Benke continues to be kind of the hub, for all these interesting stories and narratives that are still being experienced.
No, so we've been running a series of stories in our Culture Tuesday segment in our news, and you've seemed to become an authority on these characters and caricatures and the idea of Belizean folklores. Talk to us a bit about your interest. What brought you to this point where you're writing about Belizean folklores, and you've spoken with some serious expertise on this subject area?
Well, Paul, I don't know much about that aspect of being an expert, but yes, I started. My interest starts with the research, and the production, the creation of Old Benke back in the 90s. I started engaging with the older folks in town, and that kind of garnered the interest for this aspect of our culture, of our story, our narrative in Western Belize. And it kind of sprung an interest on my part, because I came to realize that yes, what we consider folklore is more than the lore of the town. It's part of the spirituality of the mestizo culture, with this Christian and extra-Christian aspects of our story. So that kind of brought me to engage in those themes that are present in much of my stories, not the surreal in the narrative.
What are some of the entities that you, and I say entities because in my conversations with different individuals that are interested, invested in fact, in these characters, they refer to many of them as entities or spirits. I don't know if that's what you have been gathered, but what are, or who are some of, or what, let me just say, what are some of the entities that you've taken a particular interest in and written on?
Well, yes, Old Bank, for example, for instance, is focuses on 4 particular stories, and that's the El Duende, the Tata Duende, what we call it in some parts of Belize. The Mayan version is the Alush. That's one that befriends, especially young the children. No, you know, children go, and we all go through that stage of befriending what we sometimes call fantasizing with friends. No, in psychology, we understand that as you know, as a natural part of the cycle, of the human cycle, the development of making up friends, of seeing friends that are not there, no acquaintances. But in the culture, we might sometimes, we may relate this to the whole mystery of the character of El Duende, the Alush, the Tata Duende. Also, a particular character that's quite very common and interesting is the Llorona or Ixtabay. Llorona is the Spanish version of Ixtabay, which is the Mayan concept of this woman that woos men, especially unfaithful men. And then we have El Cadejo, which is of two types, the whites and the black hound. The white being the protector of especially drunkards, and the black hound is the one that lures again people to a faithful end. Yeah. So basically, it's those 3. We also have in Benkebir, we also have that a very strong component, very strong disposition in a way to engaging in this whole concept of the afterlife. Finados, that's another strong component in the spirituality of this mestizo, and also presents very interesting themes in the narrative, no, and which I've taken a kind of a disposition to write on.
Now, in the vastness of your research, one would imagine that you've had to grapple with the fact of these, on one hand, these being tales that are told, but on the other hand, people having accounts of encounters or experiences. Talk a bit about how you grapple with both of those ideas and perspectives, and perhaps if you have any stories that you've heard of from any one of these characters.
Paul, many of the stories I've shared have been true narratives, no? People claiming as real. And for instance, Old Bank, I interviewed people that had first-hand experiences. Then in the book, the Under the Yashe, which is in the English version, not necessarily of Old Benke, but these are stories that I grew up with, no? That we had a very strong culture of storytelling, and these tales come from our parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, also who claim to have been true, authentic stories. So that's one part of it. But then what I've come to realize after is that these stories are ongoing, no? And with the interest in promoting, in putting these stories into published versions, there was kind of an interest, and people began to tell their own stories, no? Stories that encounters that they had experienced, which are still ongoing. And it's interesting that people come to me or tell me, you know, so and so had an experience. I mean, just last week we had somebody as part of our House of Culture group telling me of these two men that had an experience on the road, one of the villages, which I need to contact them still. No, but these stories are ongoing, and some time ago, a couple of months ago, I documented some of these stories, El Duende and the apparition at Centennial Park, right here in Benke. So it's an interesting process because I get to speak with a person. I get to write down the story, and of course the story is very. Sometimes the details are very blunt. No, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the part of the creative part is putting the encounter or the experience in a narrative form, no, to make it more effective. So that's where the imagination, the background comes in.
Do you always have an objective perspective, or is there a part of you that has a healthy level of belief that these things are actually real?
Or skepticism, if that really
Or skepticism, correct.
I should say I have much respect for it. No, I really haven't had an encounter, an experience, first-hand experience with the occult, but I know it's there. I'm part of that spirituality as part of the community, and I have much respect for all these things. No, and but apart from it, Paul, the fact is that the lore has a purpose, no? And apart from it being an instrument of identity and cohesion for the community at large, it also has the purpose of instilling values and underscoring these values that we have inherited, that are part of us. And that's where, as a writer, that's where also another interest springs in the fact that I've used many of these stories to put up, to present either an issue, a social issue that needs to be brought to the forefront. No, for instance, I wrote this story on the apparition of a lady that many taxi drivers have experienced on the way from San Ignacio to Benque Viejo. No, it's the usual story, and sometimes it's the story that you hear happening in Guatemala or Mexico, somewhere else. The taxi driver stops to pick up somebody out on the road, and the person comes in, and then the taxi driver realizes that the person is nowhere to be seen after a while. The person disappears. So that's the story. And I mean, putting a story like that, I mean, really wouldn't have much of an interest. So you need to build a narrative behind. Also, I took the story to bring up the whole narrative of the narrative of human trafficking.
Yes.
No, human trafficking.
Yeah. So Mr. Ruiz, yes. I know that you have written several pieces. For those interested, one would like to know, where is it can they find your writings, or if you're interested in getting a copy of your book, or any one of your books, where can we do that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a pity that the few bookstores in Belize City and around the country are there no more, no? But we the only place in Belize City would be the book center.
And they could contact you directly, one would imagine.
Yes. And in San Ignacio, we have the bookstore, Bacabush, no, in San Ignacio.
Yes, wonderful. Well, Mr. Ruiz, we are wholly out of time with this conversation, but we want to thank you so much for joining us and for giving us some better insight into these folklores. Isani, as you said earlier, we're doing a series. I believe our last installment will be this week, tomorrow actually, for Culture Tuesday, as we continue to explore this entire narrative of Belizean folklores. But with that, go ahead, Mr. Ruiz. We want to thank you so much.
What's your last story on?
Ishkabai. That's what you say?
Ishkabai.
Ishkabai. Yeah, so we'll definitely reach out to you once you answer your messages. I know you're a hard man to reach. But thank you so much, Mr. Ruiz, for joining us on set.
You're very welcome. Thank you all.
All right. So with that, we're going to take another break. And when we come back, we have a conversation with the folks from Cocos Lagoon Farm. You don't want to miss that one. Stay tuned.
This plan, I can't leave this plan. Smart Belize!
Hey there, smart thinkers. We're turbocharging your mobile experience with Smart's powered up postpaid plans. Imagine a world where your data speeds flows faster than ever. Well, guess what? We've cranked up the dial and unleashed the postpaid power of Smart's lightning fast LTE data on all our postpaid plans. That's right, no speed bumps, more data. It's like having a limitless highway of data speed at your fingertips. Whether you're a lone ranger with an individual plan or a squad rolling with a group plan, everyone gets to surf, stream, and share at enhanced, full, high-quality speed. Switch to Smart's powered-up postpaid plans today and ride the wave of postpaid power. Visit any Smart showroom or smart-bz.com for details and make your mobile experience smarter and faster. Smart, bringing people together.
I know I can't let this plan. I can't let this plan.
Get ready for the most electrifying season yet. KTV The Remix Season 6 premieres in June 25th with the audition show. Who will walk away with bragging rights and the $10,000 grand prize? Tune in to find out. The excitement begins at 8 p.m. on Channel 5 and our streaming platforms. And it doesn't stop there. On July 2nd, the bliss comes alive once again with the live show starting at 8 p.m. KTV The Remix Season 6, where dreams become reality. Don't miss it, right here on Channel 5.
Upcoming enhancements to My Social Security. The new healthcare provider feature seamlessly connects healthcare providers, insured persons, and employers to facilitate the payment of sickness benefits. Here are the enhancements. Registered healthcare providers will create and submit online medical certificates using their healthcare provider accounts. Insured persons will receive a link to view the medical certificate to complete and submit their sickness benefit claim. And employers will receive an email notification of their employee's sickness claim. Also, the insured person and their employer will receive a copy of the claim decision letter after review. Healthcare providers, insured persons, and employers are encouraged to create a portal account to access and benefit from these new services on My Social Security at ssbportal.org.bz. My Social Security online portal. Social Security at your fingertips.
My name is Waluko Mejia. I'm the General Manager at Copal Tree Lodge here in Toledo, Belize. The Belize Bank service we appreciate most is the Belize Bank ATM and the use of its debit card. It makes it very accessible for our employees here at Copal Tree Lodge. Essentially, they could access the ATM on their way home after work, and also that the local stores accept the use of a debit card.
Man, this weather will hold me back again. I really need our car.
Hey James, you look for a car?
Avery, yeah. Things would be so much easier if I had a car, but then I'd have to take out a loan, and I'm not sure if that's the right move, you know?
Yeah, I get that. Sometimes to achieve our goals, we need financial assistance. But it doesn't have to be scary. We can make informed choices.
What are your financial goals? A loan could help turn these aspirations into reality. But before you make that commitment, take a close look at your budget and carefully assess your income and expenses. Learn about the various types of loans and the potential impact on your financial future. Meet with someone who can guide you through the loan process, helping you understand the terms, interest rates, and repayment period. Finally, read the fine print. Make sure you are comfortable with the terms and conditions. The decision to take out a loan should be a well-informed one. Remember, knowledge is your greatest ally. Take your time, do your research, and make a choice that aligns with your aspirations and financial well-being.
Make informed choices.
A message from the Central Bank of Belize. Visit us at centralbank.org.bz. The Central Bank of Belize. People-focused, purpose-driven.
Get ready for the most electrifying season yet. KTV The Remix Season 6 premieres in June 25th with the audition show. Who will walk away with bragging rights and the $10,000 grand prize? Tune in to find out. The excitement begins at 8 p.m. on Channel 5 and our streaming platforms. And it doesn't stop there. On July 2nd, the bliss comes alive once again with the live show starting at 8 p.m. KTV The Remix Season 6, where dreams become reality. Don't miss it, right here on Channel 5.
welcome back. This is our third and final conversation for this morning. And in this one, we have an interesting business, Cocos Lagoon Farm. And we have joining us on set owner and sales marketing over at Cocos Lagoon Farm, Ms. Elsie Wolf. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's great to have you on set, and you've brought an array of products for us to display. But first of all, let's talk a bit about the Cocos Lagoon Farm and how this all began.
Well, growing up on a farm, I always appreciated, at the time as a young child, I probably wouldn't have thought about it much, how important farm fresh products were. But as I grow up and it's harder to get them, and I realize, farm fresh products taste so much better than a lot of store-bought stuff that's factory made, right? And some years ago, I started a store here in the city called Natural Choice Belize. And I focus on healthy foods and dietary options for people who have dietary restrictions. And because I have connections to farms, I would periodically bring in fresh farm products, and one of those products was butter. And but the butter that I was able to get wasn't always available. The consistency wasn't always there, and I was getting requests from chefs. They wanted to support the local farmers by purchasing locally made butter, but there really wasn't any locally made butter on the market. And anyway, so I talked to a friend of mine. I said, I would like to have some fresh butter in my store, but I want a solid, consistent availability and also a great quality product as well. And she says, you know what? I'm up for the challenge, and the rest is history. So the butter factory started, and along with that, I also had a dream for a while, not just butter, but other farm fresh products that I could, package and say, you know what? I can vouch for these products. These are authentic, real, fresh products. There's no preservatives in them. Fresher is more nutritious. And so, anyway, along with all of that, the Cocos Lagoon Farms company started with some friends of ours in Little Belize. And so, yeah, we started the company roughly 2 years ago now, but it's been slowly progressing.
Slowly churning.
Yes, slowly churning. Yes, we're churning a lot with the butter, but yeah, it's been an interesting journey to develop this food line, and but what makes my heart, what blesses my heart is that we're blessing so many local farmers as well with this.
Talk to us about that.
Yeah, so the company is located in Little Belize, and Little Belize is a Mennonite community up north, and there's a lot of farmers that would love to make extra money for their family and so on, and they have they live on a farm already as it is, so we provided them with cream. Oh my goodness, what's the word called? A machine that skims the cream off the milk. And so, yeah, we support about 7 different farmers approximately, where we collect the fresh cream on a daily basis and bring it to our small packaging facility.
Now, you have, as I said earlier, an array of products here. We want to get into some of the products, right? Quite an interesting story you have. Let's start with what's in those cups or bowls.
Yes, so this is Greek yogurt with some freshly made granola, also made here in Belize. And I'm going to top it off with some fresh blackberry jelly, which is also made in Belize. So it's Belizean made all around.
So in this cup, the products that you have is the
Greek yogurt.
The Greek yogurt.
Yes, and there is nothing added to this Greek yogurt. It is just fermented milk.
Okay. So it's natural.
It is
really
natural. There is no sugar added to our Greek yogurt. We just have a simple label at this point. You can find this product at this time only in my store, Natural Choice Belize. At the moment, we don't make it enough for the other stores. So if you are interested in fresh Greek yogurt, you can find them in my store.
All right.
So I don't know if you want to have a taste test.
I'll try just a spoon, of course.
Yeah, give it a try, and yeah, it's.
What do we have here, Elsie?
So these are some pastries I grew up with from since I was a child. We call them unbaked cookies.
Okay.
They're simple to be made, and all of the ingredients in there, except for the oats and the vanilla, is local products. The brown sugar, the coconut, the butter, and the butter, of course, is from Cocos Lagoon Farms, and the coconut is also from Cocos Lagoon Farms. We package coconut flakes as well. See, a lot of the coconut in the market here is imported, and we have so many coconut trees. Why are we importing coconut?
Indeed.
And so I said, also grew up with fresh coconut like this. I've made it myself, growing up. We would make, pastries with these fresh coconut.
It's one of those Belizean staples.
It is.
It's one of those things we use in the kitchen often. And to have it packaged like this, then you're more versatile. You have more versatile uses versus if you just, for example, have the powder.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, you can make coconut tarts with that, and you can actually make coconut milk in a jiffy with that as well. You just rehydrate it with some hot water, you let it sit, you blend it, and you strain it, and you have coconut milk if you don't have it available any other way. And so I have it in here as well. It brings a lot of fiber, a lot of good fats in there. So this is like a good morning snack or afternoon, mid-afternoon snack as well.
Yeah, I know that people may be interested in me just telling you how this is, and I'll just say that it's really good, and I have no biases here, but the Greek yogurt is fresh.
It is. Freshly made.
It feels full as well. It feels whole. I know you could buy at the store and you don't get it that good, and when you add this jelly to it, it brings the sweetness that may be lacking. And then the granola, which is also made in Belize, adds a crunch. This is a perfect breakfast.
It is.
And your elements adds everything that it needs to that.
And remember, Greek yogurt, because of the fermentation that it goes through, it brings you natural probiotics as well, which is really good for your health. And that's what we're all about, making sure that all our products are so natural that it brings the health to us.
Let's talk about the butters. I'm looking at the herb and garlic butter. Talk to us about this one.
Yeah, so we had been making our regular butter for a while already, and we just, my friend Nettie and I, we're just always coming up with ideas, and we just can't contain ourselves sometimes. And we had this idea about doing flavored butters, and it has been doing really well. We have our products in different stores already, and for some odd reason, the urban garlic and the sweet cinnamon seem to be our best sellers. I couldn't have anticipated which one would be the best seller, but the urban garlic definitely is a hit, and the sweet cinnamon, I actually had a taste testing sample
sweet cinnamon
at an expo a while ago, and one of the comments that I had was that should be illegal, apparently.
Really? Well, you brought some bread. I know Sandy's not big on taste testing, but you brought some bread, so I cannot resist. I have to ask to try at least one of the butters.
And which one would you prefer?
I'll try one with you as well.
The one that should be illegal.
Okay, sweet cinnamon, okay.
I'll have the herb and garlic.
No problem. He'll have the herb and garlic. He's into the herbs. I'll do the cinnamon.
I should have defrosted them a little bit sooner because they are.
Because you just put it on a piece of the bread.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Let's see if it's going to allow me to spread. Because they're so natural, the fats in it solidify. So you might want,
especially in this type of temperature, right?
Yeah, it needs a little bit of warming up. But so anyway, that might be enough for you to.
That's mine.
Oh, that's what. Sorry. Yes.
That should
do
you want
urban garlic.
The urban garlic.
So this is sweet cinnamon. What are the ingredients?
Butter, cinnamon, and some brown sugar. That is it.
And salt.
A little bit of salt. All our butter come with salt unless it's specified that it's unsalted.
You smell the cinnamon to an extent, but I'm smelling that herb and garlic way more than I'm smelling this.
Well, garlic is super
potent.
Strong. Yes, it has a very strong, potent flavor. So anyway, it's a big piece of bread with a little bit of butter on it. But the urban garlic is also real. If you guys are steak lovers, you melt the butter, the urban garlic, or just any of the garlic butters to be over steak is excellent.
All right.
Yes.
You give me something to look forward to.
Yes.
Try that out.
Imagine the sweet cinnamon butter instead of Nutella. You know how expensive Nutella is?
Listen, I'm not a fan of butter, but this This takes it, this is beyond butter.
It is, it is.
This is beyond butter. The flavor of the cinnamon and then the sweetness that you get with it. It reminds me of that cinnamon cereal.
Yes.
But
yes.
it's but you're having it on bread, right? And
or pancakes even.
oh my gosh.
Yes, for pancakes.
This is amazing. I really enjoyed it. I wasn't expecting to eat butter and have cinnamon and sweet all in the same bite. It's like my own cinnamon roll. But with a piece of bread on it. That should be illegal. I see what they're saying now.
Yes, yes. We also have the chia pudding. I don't know if you all knew, but chia grows in Belize. And so we package it here as well. And this is one of our packaging. We have it in 8 ounce and also in 1 pound packages. And chia is also a really good way to make a morning breakfast. It turns into like a pudding because it gels up, and it has a lot of health benefits as well. It has a lot of omega-3, fiber, and some protein as well. And this is made with coconut milk and topped with some fresh mango.
So your product is the chia in this.
Yes.
And the milk?
The milk is coconut milk. I do have an organic coconut milk in my store as well, which I use for this, but any coconut or any milk for that matter will do. So, but the chia seed that I use to make this is from Cocos Lagoon Farms chia seed, and it's available in my store, and we have it in other stores as well.
Now, in your household, do you use their products as well?
Yes, I think there is. I don't use too much ghee, for example. We have ghee over here. I did not grow up with ghee. I do appreciate a lot more now, but we had different folks asking for ghee, and so that's probably the only ingredient that I really don't use as much.
For those who may not be familiar with what ghee is, what is it?
Ghee is clarified butter.
Clarified butter.
Yes, so you take regular butter and you just boil it down until you're left with basically the milk fat solids. And so folks who have lactose intolerance can often tolerate ghee and still enjoy the butter flavor and the nutritional benefits of butter, especially grass-fed butter is super healthy as well with a lot of health benefits.
So you would eat that with your bread or
yes,
your
you
toast?
can. You can use it in any way. You can also use it for frying too, like because it has a higher heat tolerance than some other oils or fat. Like butter cannot tolerate high heat. It'll burn. And so with the ghee, it can tolerate a high smoke point.
2 years. You're 2 years into this.
Approximately 2 years.
Approximately 2 years. What's the vision?
The vision is to be in every store across the country to bring all our farm fresh products all over the country, bringing nutritious foods to everyone. And to continue to support the local farmers as well as we go. And bring more products because we're not done. And we have so many ideas more.
So innovative.
Yes.
What has the journey been like in the past 2 years?
It has been wonderful, and then some hopes dashing. One of the challenges that we face is imported butter is very cheap. And we cannot compete with those prices, and we make no apology for the prices that we have for our butter, and that we understand that, especially restaurants who want to buy in bulk, and by the way, we do sell in bulk, and we have wholesale prices as well, and we do have some good customers who are buying in bulk. But it really does hurt us that the imported butter is so much cheaper than ours is, and I don't know how it's possible for the butter to be brought in for that price, because we just can't have ours cheaper than what it is. There's a lot of time that goes into, I mean, being a farmer is a lot of work, collecting all these items together, and then hiring the help and so forth. It's a big wheel that's turning, and there's a lot of joys and a lot of
challenges.
Yes, yeah.
But and I'm sure there's an explanation out there for why you could get it in cheaper, whether it's mass production,
yes,
the
that's
fact
always
that it's not as natural
yeah.
or as healthy as these products that you provide. But tell us once more, how is it that we can get access to your products, where we can go, if there's any way we can reach out online, perhaps, or via phone to,
We are on Instagram. Cocos Lagoon Farms is on Instagram. And so you can message us there. You can email us at cocoslagoonfarms@gmail.com, or you can WhatsApp or call to 615-0269. And we do wholesale as well. In fact, our coconut, we sell a lot of wholesale coconut to restaurants, and we have them in 2-pound bags as well. So we do sell a lot in bulk there.
What stores are they in right now?
Here in the city, we have it in Carnivore, Publix, and Brody's. And in San Pedro, we have Fresh and Go and the Farmhouse. In Cayo, San Ignacio, we have Quality Foods. In Spanish Lookout, we have a Farmers Trading Center and Nature's Pantry and Sunrise Bakery. And in Orange Walk, we are in 123.
Wonderful.
There we go.
Well, we want to thank you so much for joining us on set this morning and being willing not only to display your products, but have us try some. I'm always excited not only when we have businesses come on set, but businesses that are actually being innovative with everyday products that we use in our homes. That takes it to a whole nother level, and we wish you all the success in the future.
And my store too, Natural Choice Belize.
Yes, you said that. That's on Independence.
On Independence Drive, the same street as Divine Mercy Catholic Church.
Yes. Wonderful. We want to thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
All right, so with that, we're going to take a final break, and when we come back, we're going to wrap this show up. Stay tuned.
My name is Leomar Langsert, and I'm a teacher, and I bank with Belize Bank Independence Branch. What I enjoy is the safety features that the app offers. I have a sense of not having to worry or be concerned about somebody finding my password and username to sign in the application because of the use of the one-time password. And another feature that I love, that I use the most, is how the app synchronizes with my fingerprint on my device. I enjoy the rapid and easy, seamless process to apply for loans through the Belize Bank, and I don't have to be having too much back and forth to visit or take time to visit the bank. They also start to offer the online applications through the app for loan applications, which I believe is very neat. I would definitely recommend Belize Bank to other teachers because one of all the features and advantages that the app offer with these online that Belize Bank offered is basically everything that you can do in the palm of your hand. So I would definitely recommend the bank to other teachers.
Man, this weather will hold me back again. I really need our car.
Hey James, you look for a car?
Avery, yeah. Things would be so much easier if I had a car, but then I'd have to take out a loan, and I'm not sure if that's the right move, you know?
Yeah, I get that. Sometimes to achieve our goals, we need financial assistance. But it doesn't have to be scary. We can make informed choices.
What are your financial goals? A loan could help turn these aspirations into reality. But before you make that commitment, take a close look at your budget and carefully assess your income and expenses. Learn about the various types of loans and the potential impact on your financial future. Meet with someone who can guide you through the loan process, helping you understand the terms, interest rates, and repayment period. Finally, read the fine print. Make sure you are comfortable with the terms and conditions. The decision to take out a loan should be a well-informed one. Remember, knowledge is your greatest ally. Take your time. Do your research and make a choice that aligns with your aspirations and financial well-being.
Make informed choices.
A message from the Central Bank of Belize. Visit us at centralbank.org.bz. The Central Bank of Belize. People-focused, purpose-driven.
Get ready for the most electrifying season yet. KTV The Remix Season 6 premieres on June 25th with the audition show. Who will walk away with bragging rights and the $10,000 grand prize? Tune in to find out. The excitement begins at 8 p.m. on Channel 5 and our streaming platforms. And it doesn't stop there. On July 2nd, the bliss comes alive once again with the live show starting at 8 p.m. KTV The Remix Season 6, where dreams become reality. Don't miss it, right here on Channel 5.
This plan, I can't leave this plan. Smart Belize.
Hey there, smart thinkers. We're turbocharging your mobile experience with Smart's powered up postpaid plans. Imagine a world where your data speeds flows faster than ever. Well, guess what? We've cranked up the dial and unleashed the postpaid power of Smart's lightning fast LTE data on all our postpaid plans. That's right, no speed bumps, more data. It's like having a limitless highway of data speed at your fingertips. Whether you're a lone ranger with an individual plan or a squad rolling with a group plan, everyone gets to surf, stream, and share at enhanced, full, high-quality speed. Switch to Smart's powered-up postpaid plans today and ride the wave of postpaid power. Visit any Smart showroom or smart-bz.com for details and make your mobile experience smarter and faster. Smart, bringing people together.
I know I can't leave this plan. I can't leave this plan.
And that does it for our show this morning. We want to thank you, all our viewers, for staying tuned and engaging in all three wonderful conversations that we've had this morning. We also want to thank our guests, the Commissioner of Police, Mr. David Ruiz, and of course, Ms. Elsie Wolf, for being on set with us and having these wonderful conversations. It's Monday, June 24th, the start of a new day. We don't have any birthdays. Yeah. A new week here, a new day. It's a new week. Still recovering from the weekend. We don't have any birthdays today, but I do want to take a brief moment to wish my wife and myself, of course, a happy anniversary. This is our 1-year anniversary today that we're celebrating, and so a happy anniversary to you. I know you're watching, and we'll save all the sentimental words for later on. But if you do have any birthdays, shout-outs, comments, you can always drop us a line, drop us an email over there and it's going to pop up right there on the screen in a moment at OIE at channel5belize.com. You can always catch us live on Facebook every single day at Open Your Eyes BC, as well as on Instagram for all our behind-the-scenes highlights at OIE Belize. But of course, until tomorrow, be sure to join us tomorrow, once again, when you open your eyes.
To start your morning right.
But until then, be sure to keep your eyes, your minds,
your hearts open.
See you once again tomorrow, Belize. And just as a brief reminder, tomorrow night, Tuesday night, we launch our KTV auditions. That's tomorrow night. I know a lot of Belizeans, a lot of us have been anticipating it. It starts at 8 p.m. tomorrow night, and so that's one thing to look forward to tomorrow night. But with that, we want to say goodbye, good morning, have a great rest of your day. See you tomorrow morning, same time, same place.
Open Your Eyes was brought to you by Smart, bringing people together, and the Belize Bank, our country, your bank.